Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today we are talking Battlefield 2042 and how for the first time since early access and global launch, you can expect to perform well with a weapon that's not the PP29, and how resolving one issue has made another bigger issue come into the limelight. We're talking Battlefield 2042's update number 2. Alright, lots to cover. Patch notes, my personal observations, some testing done by the community. But before we get into all of that, I just wanted to apologize. I am down with the cold right now, so if I sound extra nasally and out of breath, that's why. And hopefully I'll be back to normal before the next video. So the last 2 weeks, one of early access and one after the global launch, they could easily be dubbed as PP29 field. I mean, that gun was single-handedly the most powerful gun in the game. It outranged assault rifles and LMGs even at times. Well, in this second update, it was the main target of DICE devs. It got its vertical recoil increased by a lot, and I feel like it's finally in a place where, a skilled player could potentially use it and still do good with it, but XX Battlefield lover XX can't just pick it up and demolish entire lobbies at a time. It's somewhat balanced now, is what I'm trying to say. A number of changes were also made to the vehicles in terms of their gun damage values and vehicle health. I won't be going over all of them because I'm mainly an infantry only player, but I will put them on the screen right now, so if you want to read them, just pause and feel free to do so. Alright, now breakthrough. The mode itself was fine, but the servers were really bugged. The starts and the ends especially. I mean, how many times did this happen to you? You captured all of the sectors, but nothing happened. The match did not end and it seemed to just keep on going. Well, that's been fixed, and in my personal playtime, I haven't seen that issue resurface. But arguably the biggest part of this update was the change that it would reduce the spread on all weapons except the shotguns. So did it help? Yes, it did. Like I said at the start, you can use weapons now other than the PP29. If I were to put it into patch note terms, I'd say weapons are now working in a balanced manner inside their intended ranges. Yeah, how's that for a technical explanation? But of course, humans aren't perfect, and Battlefield players most definitely not. It didn't take long for people to figure out what the new Metagun was, and it is none other than the AK-24. Now, while not miles ahead of every other weapon in the game like the PP29 was, I'd say it's still a step above than all the other weapons when it comes to ease of use for such a powerful weapon. Maybe it's overpowered, maybe it's not, but one thing that is most definitely 100% overpowered is the M5C Bolte. That thing is insane. It is barbaric. If you thought the Hovercraft was bad, this thing is at least 2 if not 3 times worse. At least with the Hovercraft, that was funny. I mean, you looked at it and it was like a floating rock. You could laugh it off in a way, not completely. But the Bolt is completely out of bounds. I've been killed by it a lot, and sometimes it's as far as up to 300 or 400 meters. The 30mm cannon is the main culprit here, and coupled with things like no damage direction indicator and no sound indicator, just a weird distortion noise, I can't help but feel that the entire gameplay flow of 2042 right now is geared against infantry players. Every time I try to play, I feel so targeted by vehicles. Maybe it's the fact that you have to play Conquest and Breakthrough to earn a decent amount of XP, so you aren't spending that much time in smaller infantry focused game modes. But it is really off-putting for someone who spends 99.9% of their time playing as infantry and not in vehicles to have stuff like this in the game. I absolutely dread joining Conquest and Breakthrough servers because I know 50 to 60% of my deaths will come by vehicles and not infantry shooting at me. But enough of that, it's starting to feel like a rant now. Let's move on to some gunplay issues. So, hit registration issues. They've always been there since the beginning, but you couldn't be sure whether it was spread issues or actual hit reg issues. Well, now that the spread has been fixed, you can be sure. Jackfrags did a great video testing this, And if for some reason you haven't seen that video yet, make sure you do. But what he did was essentially load up a server with AI bots and then demonstrate and test the hit reg issues. But the good news is that Florian replied to Jack on Twitter and said that a fix for this has already been found. Now I don't know if the fix is something that can be applied from the back end, like they did with the proximity sensor and Dozer's shield, or if it's something that will only come in the December patch. But the point is that it's going to be fixed. It's not some mysterious occurrence that we don't know why it's happening, or God forbid, it's not a thing that's been put intentionally into the game. This second update has helped. It's made life on the battlefield so much more easier and enjoyable. A lot more work is still needed to make this game good, but we should be hopeful because the largest and third final scheduled update is yet to come out. Alright, I'm gonna go rest now to nurse my cold, but you should go watch this video next if you want to see how Battlefield 2042's World War II weapons stack up against Battlefield 5's. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you then.